For Comedy Hype News, it's your boy K-Rob. The past few years have been full of entertainment remakes and reboots. Included in this trend has been the retelling of the classic sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Created by Morgan Cooper, Bel-Air begins as a 2019 fan-made trailer posted to YouTube, reimagining the NBC sitcom as a dramatic indie film. Executive produced by Will Smith, Bel-Air tells the story of how Will Smith gets his life flipped and turned upside down, but it's a little deeper and darker. Since his debut, some fans have debated how the retelling stacks up against the original. Some viewers have struggled to separate the two and accept the retelling as a whole new show. Cooper's retelling of The Fresh Prince takes the family-friendly sitcom and turns into a more mature drama with some more mature content. So while we miss out on some of the hilarious iconic scenes, like when Carlton broke the fourth wall after Will told him he killed Lisa during a prank, we get more intense moments like Carlton pushing Will into a pool, leading to a physical altercation between the cousins. So maybe it boils down to whether you prefer drama or comedy. Maybe you just appreciate the nostalgia of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Whichever you prefer, join us as we explore the differences so you can decide who you feel did it better. While most of Bel-Air characters stay true to their originals, the show deeply unpacks the personality of each character, revealing why they are the way they are. Each hour-long episode, we learn more about the characters in a way that is much more different than a 30-minute sitcom. Tasked with taking on the iconic role of the show's main character, Will Smith, is Jabari Banks. As a West Philadelphia native himself, Banks brings the same swag and charisma to the fictionalized version of Will, but a little less of the comedic chops that we know and love from The Fresh Prince. His style is still fresh and unique, rocking Bel-Air Academy uniform blazer inside out like the OG Will. But Jabari's Will seems a bit more troubled, thus we get less of the silly jokes and goofy demeanor we know the original for. On comparison to the original Will character, Jabari told Golderby.com, "I knew I couldn't be Will. No one can really do that again. I didn't want to do any sort of reenacting of what he did. I had to bring my own energy, but I definitely did want to hit the mannerisms that he had in the original. So that's what I sought out to do, but bring my own flavor to this character. Fresh Prince is like lightning in a bottle. You can't really create that again. So I had to bring myself to this role as much as I could and let the audience do the rest." More or less, Jabari's Will is the same charming basketball-loving guy. He still makes the Bel-Air Academy basketball team and even rocks the same jersey, number 14. Will's streetwise demeanor that he is known for in the original show is exaggerated in his remake to the point where that one little fight that sent him packing to his aunt and uncles was actually a big brawl that involved a gun and landed Will behind bars. In Bel-Air, Will's mom says to him before dropping him off at the airport for Bel-Air, "You got a second chance, baby. Don't waste it." This statement rings true for Will Smith in real life, as he has openly discussed that moving to LA is what saved his life, as many of his friends in West Philadelphia was going to jail or dying. The youngest of the Banks siblings, Ashley, played by Tatiana Ali in the original show, was the spunky 12-year-old who was the most open to Will's arrival. Played by Akira Akbar in the show's remake, Ashley is the same outspoken, opinionated preteen, but with one distinct difference. If you recall in season 1 of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Ashley had her first date with a boy. In the show's dramatic reimagining, we find her exploring an attraction to girls. Being that Ashley is only 12 years old, some viewers didn't agree with this change in her character. Others would argue that no one batted an eye when the original Ashley kissed Little T during her date in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Bel-Air takes Karen Parsons' original portrayal of the oldest Banks sibling, Hillary, from a spoiled ditzy brat socialite to a business-minded social media mogul in the making. The new Hillary, played by actress and singer Coco Jones, dropped out of college and is living in her family's pool house. But she's finding her way quicker than the original Hillary, who doesn't get a job as a weather girl until season 3 of the show. Both Hillarys have a passion for fashion, but the new Hillary looks forward to more than just her next shopping spree. She's a budding chef and food influencer who is determined to make her mark in the social media world. The main difference between the new Jazz and the old Jazz is that the new Jazz is actually allowed inside the Banks residence. In fact, instead of getting tossed out, the reimagined Jazz, played by Jordan L. Jones, is sent off with $200 after dropping Will off from the airport. He still dons his iconic frames and is the cool, laid-back half to Will's duo. But we meet him as Will's cab driver and record store owner, unlike in the original show, where Ashley's drum teacher. Played by DJ Jazzy Jeff, he now offers more than just comedic relief, often serving as a voice of reason to Will, and is even beginning to date Hillary, in stark contrast to the original sitcom, where Hillary was often put off by the character. Vivian and Philip Banks are the show's parental figures, and tasked with guiding their nephew Will along the right path in both shows. Instead of an English professor, Cassandra Freeman's Vivian is a former artist turned art teacher, where the original Vivian, played by Janet Hubert and Daphne Maxwell Reid, was a bit more sure of herself. Bel-Air's Vivian struggles with living in her husband's shadow and losing herself as a mom. There's tension between Vivian and Hillary, being that she was her first child and implied that upon her pregnancy with Hillary, her dreams was put on hold. Both Vivian resides in Bel-Air, but will go West Philly real quick. We don't get an iconic dance number from the new Aunt Viv, but when she does get her shine at an art exhibit, we see Phil find difficulty in being supportive. The original Uncle Phil would never. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's Philip Banks, affectionately known to Will as Uncle Phil, was a judge and the head of household, played by the late James Avery. He is known to Carlton as Big Guy, referencing his larger physique. In contrast, the reimagined Phil is very handsome and athletic. Bel-Air Phil is a lawyer running for district attorney, played by British-Canadian actor Adrian Holmes. Both Phils are a bit conservative, but are openly pro-black. During a fundraiser party for Phil's campaign, the reimagined Phil tells attendees that he's tired of watching the broken system discard young black men into the for-profit school-to-prison pipeline. Both Phils are stern yet caring when it comes to family, but we see just how deeply new Uncle Phil cares when he pulls his lawyer strings to get Will out of jail. Do you think the original Phil would take the law into his own hands? One of the most drastic character changes was that of Jeffrey, the butler. Only in Bel-Air, he's not the butler. He's the house manager, Jeffrey Thompson. He's suave and confident and strong in contrast to the uptight, snarky Jeffrey the butler. We were guaranteed a laugh each episode from Jeffrey the butler, most likely a sarcastic jab at one of the bank's family members. But Bel-Air, Jeffrey proves that he would all but take a bullet for the family that employs him, and he would probably do just that too. No matter how shady or illegal or dangerous the task asked of him, he would get it done. Could you imagine Jeffrey the butler dealing with the guy that spent Will dizzy and sent him out of Philly? Both Jeffreys took their job very seriously, but as soon as we meet Jeffrey Thompson, as he pulls a wad of $100 bills out of his pocket to pay Jazz, you realize this is not the same Jeffrey we know. This is probably a good time to remind you that Bel-Air is not the exact same family-friendly show that we grew up on. Although The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was not without its heated moments, the comedic elements and portrayal of family is what gave you that warm and fuzzy feeling we love to watch the show for. Bel-Air does not give you that same exact feeling. Instead, it keeps you on the edge of your seat with intense situations that are a little too real for a sitcom. Case in point, the story of Carlton Banks. Bel-Air's take on Carlton is far from the dorky, happy-go-lucky version played by Alfonso Ribeiro. Though he was annoyingly arrogant, Carlton and Will's love-hate relationship in the original show is mostly loving. But their feud in Bel-Air highlights Carlton's character flaws in the worst way. Bel-Air's Carlton, played by Ollie Charlton, is completely removed from the blackness and anything that is aligned with upper echelon of his life. He and Will's first argument stems from Carlton allowing his white teammates to say the N-word around him. Unlike the original Carlton, Charlton's character is one of the most popular people at school, a star lacrosse player and student body president. But Will's presence brings his inner identity issues and cause him to spiral. If you remember in season 3 of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Carlton was hospitalized after taking drugs he found in Will's locker, mistaking them for vitamins. The Peacock series puts a modern twist on this part of Carlton's life. It is revealed that Carlton has been using Xanax and presumably other hard drugs to cope with anxiety. Many viewers did not appreciate this imagining of Carlton, protesting that his character is extremely unlikable and they didn't want to see him using hard drugs. One viewer tweeted, "Just started watching Bel-Air. It's a fresh look on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air I'm not cool with. Carlton being a cokehead. Bring back the Carlton dance. Hashtag not the usual. Hashtag Bel-Air." Some fans might argue that this is just an over-exaggerated version of the original Carlton. Both characters deal with the pressures of achieving success and being part of a wealthy black family in a mostly white environment. The reality is that these factors could cause a teenager to have anxiety, abuse drugs, and act erratically. Bel-Air fully immersed itself in the realness of each character, and maybe that's something that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fans were not ready for. Charlton told Essence magazine, "I love that for Carlton. We look at substance abuse, which is something that is pervasive for a lot of kids today, and also mental health. If one little black kid can feel seen, that warms my heart, and I feel like I've done my job." Bel-Air puts a dramatic spin on many of the original storylines of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will's dating life, for example. In The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, we see Will court many different young ladies until he proposes to Lisa Wilkes in one of the final seasons. In the show's remake, Lisa is the first young lady he meets, and she just so happens to be Carlton's ex-girlfriend. They share an immediate bond and leads to a physical altercation between Will and Carlton. One of the most iconic episodes of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and his remake, Bel-Air, is when Will's father, Lou Smith, returns after abandoning him and his mother 14 years prior. In an episode titled Papa's Got a Brand New Excuse, Lou, played by actor Vivian, shows up at Will's university after receiving a call from Will's mother. He's a trucker and was making a work stop through LA. Lou revealed he left because he wasn't ready to be a father. Will and Phil go at it when Will decides he wants to leave with his father to go on the road. As the family expected, Lou flakes and reneges on his promise to Will. During the emotional scene, Will asks the tearful question that sticks with us to this day.
How come you don't want me, man?
The Bel-Air series turned Lou into an ex-con who was charged with robbing and beating up an old man 3 years before showing up to the bank's residence. Shockingly, Lou is portrayed by actor and comedian Marlon Wayans. Growing tired of the secrecy surrounding his father, Will asked Jeffrey to dig up info so that he could find him. Lou was met with the same reservation from the Banks family as in the original show. But the emotional scene in The Fresh Prince was replaced with an intense argument between the father and son, leading to a physical confrontation. On his experience playing Will's father, Marlon told Ebony, "I love the hurt that was in it because I just feel there are so many young brothers out there and so many young fathers that need to see that. And it's so distant from what I am as a dad. It's about forgiving and it's about responsibility. It's about forgiving yourself. It's just so textured and so layered, especially for our community. I felt it was necessary and I'm glad we did it. Jabari is such a great young actor to work with and is a great talent. We just trusted each other." When Will Smith saw the trailer for the dramatized version of the show, he called the idea brilliant in a video on his YouTube channel. He said, "The dramatic version of these ideas mean that you can use existing storylines, but it's not going to seem like you're redoing an episode because the storyline is going to be brand new from the dramatic perspective." Bel-Air gave many subtle references to the original show, like Will drinking orange juice out of a champagne glass on his first-class flight to Bel-Air, and more blatantly reacting scenes like when Carlton became jealous of Will at his first basketball game. It's interesting to see how the show becomes new while keeping its premise of following Will from the inner city streets of West Philly to the gated communities of Bel-Air. Ultimately, it portrays a more authentic version of Will's story. Real life doesn't feel like a sitcom. There's no funny punchlines, no winks in the crowd, and no curated laughter. If you came into the new show expecting it to feel like the original, then you were probably disappointed. Some fans feel like that we should have just left the remake alone altogether, and others enjoyed it, and it was quickly greenlit for a season 2. What do you think? Will you be tuning into the new season of Bel-Air, or did the new series make you want to binge watch the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Tell us your thoughts in the comment section below. Stay up to date with the latest news in comedy, sports, and music by subscribing here to our YouTube channel, follow Hype Plus across all social media, and look out for our new original content on our new streaming service. For Comedy Hype News, it's been your boy K-Rob.